I'm going to pick this one and drop it here. Select this one that says Nav Area. When AI finds a path, it looks for the cheapest path, not just the shortest one. We have one parameter that is called the filter class. This NavMesh modifier, while the other has to take the bridge. Fantastic. This is exactly the result I'm looking for.
Imagine this. You have two NPCs. One is small and fragile. He cannot cross lava. The other one is massive. He can walk through fire like it is nothing. But they are both using the same navigation system. So how do you control where one can go and where the other cannot if the NavMesh is the same? That is exactly what we're going to do today. We are going to influence navigation using query filters. This is the Game Creator Accelerator and I am Tony Munoz. If you enjoy learning AI systems and building real mechanics inside Unreal Engine, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, and ring the bell so you do not miss what is coming next. We're building a full third-person shooter called the Mad Gameverse right here on this channel, and the entire code is available for you to study. And because succeeding in the gaming industry requires much more than just learning how to code, I want to invite you to take my free training at woolen.com/free training. There we break down the strategies and methodology you need to successfully transition into the gaming industry after office hours. Now, let's get started.
This was the level we created in our last lesson, so we're going to create a new one. File, New Level, Basic, and Create. Let's open some space here that I'm going to need and remove this floor element. As we did with the previous one, select the selection mode, go to Modeling, and here select Create and Cubegrid. Let's move away. I want to create a space a little bit bigger. Something like that. It will be okay. Click E. And now I also want to create two other spaces, which will be here, another E, and here, let's say something like that, and another E. And between them, I want to connect them with what could be something like a bridge. So let's select this section. I think 3 meters will be okay. And E again. Now I'm going to click Accept. And once I have this, I want also to add other two sections. So go again to Cubegrid. Select now this space and fill it with E. And the same thing, you're going to do it here. You will see why I do this. And now accept. The next step to make this visually more attractive, let's go here to Selection back, is opening Fab. And let's look up for some material and textures that are free. So the price will be only show free products. And let's look for the pack bonus textures. I'm going to select this package because I have it. It is free at this moment. And it's part of the textures I want to add to my new project. Now that it is imported, let's check it on materials. And you have all these beautiful materials. I'm going to drag this pack here. You can see that we have two sections, and that's why I make that differentiation in 2 steps. I created this mesh in 2 steps. For the other, I want to create kind of a river or something like that. Go back to Fab, back, and now the search will be water materials. This is the one I will pick and add it to my project. Now that it is imported, I can take any of these materials. I'm going to pick this one and drop it here. And so now you have some water, and beside that, some grass. It's not the best design, but yeah, let's make this a little bit more interesting and that you can define different elements in the scene. Now we need to add collisions to this static mesh, or if not, well, a character is not going to collide with that. So click here to look for the static mesh you created now and open it. Select the details and look for collision complexity. And instead of simple and complex, click this arrow and select use complex as simple. And now apply. So here's the colliders for this mesh that you created. Save and close and go back. Now let's add our characters. Well, first, the player start. Let me place it on some place around here, I would say. Yeah, perfect. And now end to put it on the floor. And let's add some of the characters of the blueprints that we created on the previous lessons and make a copy of that character. To differentiate them, we can use a different skeletal mesh asset. So I'm going to select the second one, and inside the skeletal mesh asset, click this arrow, and let's pick another kind of chimera. Let's say the Halloween chimera. So now you'll see this is one type and this is a different type of chimera. It is the same character, it has the same animations, and it is the same blueprint. But the skeletal meshes just look different. The final element I have to set for these both characters is a goal. So I'm going to copy the goal from the previous level. But first I have to save this one. So save current level. Let's call it level nav query. And save. I now open the other level. And I'm going to copy this actor. Control C. Open the new level. Paste it here. And let's place it on a position to the other side. Should be something like here. And let's move it to, let's say, this point. Yeah, like in the corner. And now a little bit down. Awesome. Back to our NPCs or our agents. Let's select what is going to be their goal or the target. Sorry, it was the target. Click here on this speaker and select the sphere. And repeat the same for this one and select the sphere. Of course, if we try to play this right now, nothing happens because we haven't added the navigation mesh. Let's go for it. Let's open some space here, go to place actor, select the volumes, and look for nav and pick the Nav Mesh bounce volume. Drag it inside your scene. Click P if you want to see the space that will be transformed into a navigation space. And now let's play with the size. In fact, let me put it a bit more in the center, which will be someplace around here. And now R, play with the size and expand this a lot. And this could be good enough. Probably just one more. Excellent. And now we can move it a little bit to the left. Excellent space. If we play it, now characters go straight to the goal. But I don't want the characters, the NPCs, can be able to walk through the water. So let's add in place actors, volumes, and nav, what we introduced previously that is named at Nav Modifier Volume. Drag it inside, and now let's expand the size of this until it covers the area related to the water. Could be here just a little bit. In fact, I'm going to change the snapping to 50. Move it here. Perfect. And now to here. And again, expand it like that. Looking good. Let me see this side and this one. I think I can expand it a little bit here as well. Awesome. And now I can take this same object and move it with Alt down to the other side to generate a replica or a copy. And now I can reduce the size, let's say something around here, and then onto this point. I think this is pretty cool. And if we decided now to play the game, our NPCs takes the bridge until they reach the destination. Awesome. Now, the goal that I have with this is that I want to allow some of my NPCs being able to walk through this space while others cannot. So one of my NPCs, I'm going to select this one, will be able to walk through this while this has to take the bridge. This is a very important feature you need to know in order to define how different NPCs should behave in terms of navigation when you are presenting a particular situation on your game. Let's say that there are some characters that can walk through lava, but there are others that can't. And you have only one Nav Mesh volume. Well, in that case, you need to handle these mechanics that I'm going to present now.
Let me take a moment of your time. I did not create this channel to teach you software. I created it because I do not want you to spend years wondering, confused, trying to piece together a path the way I had to. It took me 3 full years of relentless dedication to truly understand what it means to build a real path in the gaming industry. Yes, here we teach on real engines. We build real systems, real AI, real gameplay. But that is only half of the equation. The other half is direction. This channel is about strategy. It is about methodology. It is about learning how to transition into gaming industry while you work somewhere else during office hours. Because this is not just about learning a tool. It is about building something that gives you a reason to wake up early. Something that pulls you forward. Something that lights a fire inside you. Using art, using technology, using the stories in your mind that deserves to become real games. This is why I created the Game Creator Accelerator mentorship. Today, my students are not just learning on Unreal in a structured way. They are building publicly. They are gaining visibility. They are growing their audience. They are improving every single week with accountability, community, and direct mentorship. And they are creating the games they want, not the ones I'm telling them. If you're serious about changing your path, I invite you to take my free 30-minute training at Woolen.com. In that training, I show you what you can start doing today to move forward with clarity and purpose. And if you want to speak with me directly about where you are, where you want to go, and what might be holding you back, I am here to guide you. Pick a time to chat with me. The link is in the description. Your future in game development does not start someday. It starts the moment you decide to build it. First, to keep the order, let's create a folder, name, new folder, Nav Area. Open the folder, right-click, select a blueprint class, and in all classes, look for Nav Area. Select this one that says Nav Area, not the children's, just this one. And select, and let's name it BP for blueprint, Nav Area, Cubegrid. Now, the question is, what is a Nav Area? A Nav Area is just a tag you put on a part of your NavMesh. The NavMesh is this section, this green section, that tells the AI where it can walk. A Nav Area lets you say, hey, this section or this part is special. The good thing is that you are not changing the shape. You are not blocking it automatically. You're just marking it. It could mean this area is slow, this area is dangerous, this area is expensive, or this area is forbidden. But keep in mind that the Nav Area itself does not tell the AI what to do. It just labels the zone. Then we're going to use a query filter that decides how the AI should treat that label area. You can think it like the Nav Area is the tag, the Nav modifier paints the tag, and the query filter tells the AI how to react. That is the system. I can close the fab because we don't need it anymore. And now let's open the Nav Area Cubegrid. Here we have two parameters that are important, the default cost and the fixed area entering cost. We're going to explain it in a second. Just assume that these are the default values. Save, and let's go back to our level. Now let's add another folder, new folder, and name it Nav Query Filters, and open it. Right-click again, go for Blueprint class, and now look for Navigation Query Filter, this one, and select. Let's name it Nav Query Filter, and let's call it 1, and double-click to open it. In the details, you will find this section that defines some areas, and right now we don't have any area. Click on the plus, and a new area class will be added. Because we already set our Nav Area Cubegrid, we can pick it from the list. We can use the BP Nav Area Cubegrid. And let's leave for the moment the travel cost and the entering cost override on check. Compile, save, and let's go back to our level and open a space. In fact, let me go back just for a second to talk about these parameters, even though we leave them unchecked. When AI finds a path, it looks for the cheapest path, not just the shortest one. Cost is just numbers added while moving. The travel cost controls how expensive it is to move inside that area. 1 means that it's normal. Higher than 1 makes that AI try to avoid it. This cost applies to the whole time the AI is walking through it. By default, we have the 1 meaning that this is the normal movement. The entering cost
is a one-time cost when the AI steps into the area. You can think of it like paying a toll once. The default value is 0, meaning there is no penalty to enter. The simple way to differentiate them is that travel cost affects movement inside the area. Entering cost affects the decision to step into it. Even though we add all these elements, if we test our game right now, what will happen is that the characters will continue following the bridge until they reach to the goal because we set the NavMesh modifiers for this section and this section of this level. But now we want a little bit more of control over the agents. So let's go to Character and open the blueprint of this agent. Inside the NavMesh, on the Move Actor, we have one parameter that is called the filter class. Drag a wire from here and select Promote to Variable. Let's take the default name, which is the filter class. And in the details, let's select it and be sure that it's instance editable, so we can change it in our level. Compile, save, be sure that the filter class is known for the filter class, and let's go back to our level. In the scene, we're going to make a couple of changes. Let's clean this section and select the NavMesh modifiers. You can select both of them by keeping the Shift key down while clicking. Look for the parameter that is called Area Class. You can see that at this moment it is called Nav Area Null. Click on the arrow and select the blueprint for the Nav Area that we created, which is this one, BP Nav Area Cubegrid. Now let's move it down a little bit. Now if we play, look that the characters are not taking the bridge. They're passing through even the Nav Modifier Volume. What I want is that this character passed through the Nav Modifier Volume, but this one has to take the bridge. To do that, let's select this agent and look for the new parameter we created called Filter Class. Right now it is set to None, which is by default. Click on the arrow and select the Nav Query Filter 1. Now we have one agent that has a filter class and the other that doesn't have any. The next step is go to the Nav Area Cubegrid, the blueprint, and set the default cost to 2 instead of 1. Compile and save. And in the Nav Filter 1, let's check the travel cost override and the entering cost override. Compile, save, and let's go back to our level. Now you will see that this character will move over this NavMesh modifier while the other has to take the bridge. Look at it. Fantastic. This is exactly the result I'm looking for. So let's explain this a little bit. You have two places where cost can exist. You have it here in this BP for the Nav Area Cubegrid, and here is the default cost, and you also have it in the query filter for the specific area section that you define. So who wins? Well, who wins is this one because the filter overrides this area. It's set in here to override. So think of it like this. The BP Nav Area Cubegrid defines the default cost, which is, in this case, 2, of the area in the world. It is the base rule. If not filter is used, Unreal uses this value. So if default cost is 2, then the area costs 2 for everyone by default. Now let's go back to the nav query. This is a special rule applied during a path request. When we check travel cost override equals to 1, you are telling Unreal, ignore the area's default cost. Use 1 instead. The same applies when you refers to the entering cost. Now, what does it overrides exactly? It overrides the cost defined inside the nav area. So if nav area says default cost is 2 and filter says default cost is 1, then when this filter is used, cost becomes 1. The filter temporarily replaces the area cost during the path calculation. In a simple way, the nav area defines the default cost of a region. The navigation query filter can replace that cost for a specific AI or a specific move. If the area says cost 2, but the filter says cost 1, the filter wins. It does not change the area permanently. It only changes how the AI sees it during the path request. Why this exists? Because different AI should see the world differently. For example, the area is dangerous by default cost 2, but a fearless enemy uses a filter that makes it cost 1, so civilians avoid it, enemies walk through it. It is the same level, but different perception.
And that is how you influence navigation using query filters. Now you understand how two characters can share the same nav mesh and still experience the world completely differently. This is where AI stops feeling rigid and start behaving in a smarter, more controlled way. In the next tutorial, we are going to implement agent avoidance. In simple words, we will make multiple agents avoid colliding with each other. So get ready for the next episode. And please support this channel by making sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share it with someone building their own game right now. And ring the bell so you are notified the moment the next episode is released. And remember to take my free training at woodland.com/free training, where I break down the strategies and methodology you need to successfully transition into gaming industry after office hours. And also, do not miss my next video about how to hack your way into the gaming industry. Until next time, keep creating, keep sharing, and most importantly, keep dreaming big. I'll see you soon, my fellow creators.